On Christmas morning, a cop on horseback is sitting at a traffic light, and next to him is a kid on his brand new bike. The cop says to the kid, "Nice bike you got there. Did Santa bring that to you?" The kid says, "Yeah." The cop says, "Well, next year tell Santa to put a tail light on that bike." The cop then proceeds to issue the kid a $20 bicycle safety violation ticket. The kid takes the ticket and before the cop rides off says, "By the way, that's a nice horse you got there. Did Santa bring that to you?" Humoring the kid, the cop says, "Yeah, he sure did." The kid says, "Well, next year tell Santa to put the underneath the horse, instead of on top." A fleeing Taliban, desperate for water, was plodding through the Afghanistan desert when he saw something far off in the distance. Hoping to find water, he hurried toward the object, only to find a little old Jewish man at a small stand selling ties. The Taliban asked, "Do you have water?" The Jewish man replied, "I have no water. Would you like to buy a tie? They are only $5. The Taliban shouted, "Idiot. I do not need an overpriced tie. I need water. I should kill you, but I must find water first." "Okay," said the old Jewish man, "it does not matter that you do not want to buy a tie and that you hate me. I will show you that I am bigger than that. If you continue over that hill to the east for about 2 miles, you will find a lovely restaurant. It has all the ice-cold water you need. Shalom." Muttering, the Taliban staggered away over the hill. Several hours later he staggered back, almost dead. "Your f***ing brother won't let me in without a tie." A man is getting into the shower just as his wife is finishing up her shower when the doorbell rings. The wife quickly wraps herself in a towel and runs downstairs. When she opens the door, there stands Bob, the next-door neighbor. Before she says a word, Bob says, "I'll give you $800 to drop that towel." After thinking for a moment, the woman drops her towel and stands naked in front of Bob. After a few seconds, Bob hands her $800 and leaves. The woman wraps back up in the towel and goes back upstairs. When she gets to the bathroom, her husband asks, "Who was that?" "It was Bob, the next-door neighbor," she replies. "Great," the husband says, "did he say anything about the $800 he owes me?" A priest offered a lift to a nun. She got in and crossed her legs, forcing her gown to reveal a leg. The priest nearly had an accident. After controlling the car, he stealthily slid his hand up her leg. The nun said, "Father, remember Psalm 129? The priest removed his hand. But changing gears, he let his hand slide up her leg again. The nun once again said, "Father, remember Psalm 129? The priest apologized, "Sorry sister, but the flesh is weak." Arriving at the convent, the nun went on her way. On his arrival at the church, the priest rushed to look up Psalm 129. It said, "Go forth and seek, further up, you will find glory." A sales rep, an administration clerk, and the manager are walking to lunch when they find an antique oil lamp. They rub it and a genie comes out. The genie says, "I'll give each of you just one wish, me first." "Me first," says the administration clerk. "I want to be in the Bahamas, driving a speedboat, without a care in the world." Poof. She's gone. "Me next." "Me next," says the sales rep. "I want to be in Hawaii, relaxing on the beach with my personal masseuse, an endless supply of pina coladas, and the love of my life." Poof. He's gone. "Okay, you're up," the genie says to the manager. The manager says, "I want those two back in the office after lunch." A man and his wife were awakened at 3 a.m. by a loud pounding on the door. The man gets up and goes to the door where a drunken stranger, standing in the pouring rain, is asking for a push. "Are you kidding?" says the husband, "it is 3 o'clock in the morning. He slams the door and returns to bed. Who was that? Asked his wife. Just some drunken guy asking for a push, he answers. Did you help him? She asks. No, I did not. It is 3 o'clock in the morning and it is pouring rain out there. Well, you have a short memory, says his wife. Can't you remember about 3 months ago when we broke down and those 2 guys helped us? I think you should help him. Someone helped us. The man does as he is told, gets dressed, and goes out into the pounding rain. He calls out into the dark, "Hello, are you still there?" "Yes," comes back the answer. "Do you still need a push?" calls out the husband. "Yes, please," comes the reply from the dark. "Where are you?" asks the husband. "Over here on the swing," replied the drunk. A man seeking to join a South Texas Sheriff's Department is being interviewed. The sergeant doing the interview says, "Your qualifications all look good, but there is an attitude suitability test that you must take before you can be accepted." Then, sliding a service pistol across the desk, he says, "Take this pistol and go out and shoot 6 illegal aliens, 6 meth dealers, 6 Muslim extremists, and a rabbit." "Why the rabbit?" "Great attitude," says the sergeant. "When can you start?" A man was leaving a stop-and-go with his morning coffee and newspaper when he noticed a most unusual funeral procession approaching the nearby cemetery. A long black hearse was followed by another long black hearse about 50 feet back. Behind the second hearse was a solitary man walking a pit bull on a leash. Behind him were 200 men walking single file. The guy couldn't stand the curiosity. He respectfully approached the man walking the dog and said, "Oh sir, I know now is a bad time to disturb you, but I've never seen a funeral like this." "Whose funeral is it?" The man replied, "Well, that first hearse is for my wife." "What happened to her?" The man replied, "My dog bit her and she died." He inquired further, "Well, who is in the second hearse?" The man answered, "My mother-in-law. She was trying to help my wife when the dog turned and bit her and she died." A poignant and thoughtful moment of silence passes between the 2 men. "Sir, could I borrow that dog?" "Get in line." A woman goes to the doctor. "Doctor, what happened?" Woman, "Doctor, I don't know what to do. Every time my husband comes home drunk, he beats me to a pulp." "Doctor, I have a real good medicine against that. When your husband comes home drunk, just take a glass of chamomile tea and start gargling with it. Just gargle and gargle." 2 weeks later she comes back to the doctor and looks reborn and fresh again. Woman, "Doc, that was a brilliant idea. Every time my husband came home drunk I gargled repeatedly with chamomile tea and he never touched me." "Doctor, you see how keeping your mouth shut helps."